에이미 챌린지 캠퍼스 쟌엄마의 ASMR입니다. Precious Moments Bedtime Stories. Brian's Bear. Little Brian had a very best friend, a soft brown bear named Teddy. Every night, Brian would pick up Teddy, climb the stairs, and get into bed. When Mom came in for a goodnight kiss, Brian would hold up Teddy and say, "Teddy wants a kiss too, Mom." Brian and Teddy did everything together. When Brian went to the park, so did Teddy. When Brian went to the store, Teddy came along and they rode side by side in the grocery cart. When Brian ate lunch, Teddy ate lunch. Brian had a 5-year-old cousin named Andy. One day, Andy asked Brian to spend the night at his house. Brian was very excited, and the first thing he packed was Teddy. Brian and Andy had lots of fun. They laughed and played. All the while, Teddy was close by, watching and smiling. The boys told funny stories until way past their bedtime. The next morning, the boys jumped out of bed and ran downstairs to quickly eat breakfast and get ready to play. The next thing they knew, Brian's mom came to pick him up. Brian ran upstairs to get Teddy. He had left him in the chair by the bed because Teddy looked so sleepy that morning. He wasn't used to sleeping in a strange house and really needed a morning nap. Brian came running down the steps. He was crying big, big tears. "Mom, Teddy's gone. I can't find him anywhere. He's just disappeared." Everyone in the house looked for Teddy. They looked behind the chairs, under the bed, on all the shelves. They even looked in the wastebaskets. No Teddy anywhere. Then they looked in the backyard. No Teddy. There was only one place left, the front yard. They looked under every bush and behind every tree. Still no Teddy. Brian went up to the bedroom again to see if Teddy was there. He was still crying big tears. Andy was waiting for him. "Brian, I have something to tell you," Andy said quietly. "I'm really sorry that I made you cry." Brian wiped his eyes. "Oh, you didn't make me sad, Andy. I'm just sad because I can't find my Teddy." Andy looked down at his feet. "But I know where Teddy is," he said. "I didn't mean to make you cry. I've never had a bear before, and I didn't think you would miss him that much. I'm really sorry, Brian." And Andy began to cry. Brian gave Andy a hug, and for a few minutes the cousins cried together. Then Andy went to the closet, pushed the shoes out of the way, pulled out a box from the corner, and lifted Teddy out of his hiding place. "Here he is, Brian. I did a bad thing when I took Teddy and hid him. I'm sorry. I feel so sad." Andy cried a few more tears. And these were very big tears. He even sobbed a few times and just kept his head down. "That's okay, Andy. I know you didn't do it to make me sad," Brian said as he hugged Teddy. Andy tried hard to stop crying. Brian reached over to pat Andy's shoulder. Then he smiled and said, "I've got a good idea. Just wait here, Andy, and I'll be back in a minute." In a few minutes, Brian came back with a sheet of paper folded to make a small square. On the outside, it said, "To Andy, from your friend Brian." Andy carefully unfolded the paper. There was a drawing of a teddy bear. "I wish this was a real bear, Andy. Brian said. But at least you can keep this picture until you have your very own teddy bear. Andy giggled. Oh, thank you, Brian. I may not need a real teddy bear. I like this picture because you made it to help me feel better. That night, when he went to bed, Andy asked his dad to hang the drawing of the teddy bear above his bed. Before he went to sleep, Andy looked up at his teddy bear and said, "Night, Teddy. I'm so glad you came to live with me."